welcome to another episode of Unpacking Love. I'm so excited to be bringing this guest in the house today. This is a friend I made when I was on a trip in St. Thomas. So I'm really excited to have him come here. We've had some bomb discussions. So welcome to the podcast, Charles. How's it going?
Hi, it's going really well. And like you said, it was wonderful meeting you on the island.
Yes. And the conversations have just been on another level. So I'm really excited to have him on the podcast today. Today's topic is going to be, why do men feel like they need to get established before they settle down? And listen, I couldn't think of anyone better to bring here than Charles himself. So Charles, let's get into it, okay? So there's this whole thing where I feel like I hear this a lot where men sometimes will go into relationships, and then when it's time to, not when it's time to, but when the woman is kind of pushing for taking it to the next level, right? Maybe getting engaged or getting married, then sometimes the guys will be like, oh, you know what? I want to get established first before I take things to the next level. Or sometimes there's some men who will be like, oh, you know what? Actually, I don't want to be in a serious relationship right now. So I just want to do casual dating because I want to get established before I settle down. So having said all of that, right? What are your thoughts about why men, and again, maybe it's not all men, but a lot of men, right, feel like they need to get established before they settle down?
I mean, yes, I'm pro about that. I feel a man should be established before he settles down. Because raising a family or being serious with a woman, it's gonna be quite costly. And I know money isn't everything, but if you're looking back into the 50s, the women stayed home, the men's go out to work, and they provided everything. And they didn't start a family until, they were out of their parents' house, they had their own house, they had their own car, and then they would start a family. Um, if you look at relationships today, men aren't established. They have 4 or 5 kids, still possibly lives with his mom or in a studio. And I wouldn't want that for myself. So that is why I would want to be established.
Okay. Oh, I really love your opening line because even from what you said, I already have 20,000 questions, right? So you did mention that, when we look back at how society has been traditionally, you mentioned say the 1950s, the man has been the provider. And so they wouldn't start families until they felt like they had a house to put the woman in, or
Right.
basically means to take care of the woman. So now, right, where we look at society and we have women now going to work, and then women sometimes actually having really good jobs. What are your thoughts about that, right? Do you still feel like as the man, even without accounting for the woman's income, you should be able to take care of the whole family, which is why you would want to get established before settling down rather than getting established after you've settled down with someone?
Yeah. Because if you get established after you settle down with someone, I, me personally, I feel that's going to, make me complacent, and content. And like, okay, I have the lady, I have some money, I don't need to strive anymore.
Okay. So then pretty much the push to get established prior to being in a serious relationship is so that you could accomplish goals before getting together with someone.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay. That's an interesting take. And I actually love what you said about how now now we see things happening with families where a man sometimes is not established and he's having 5 kids. Sometimes he's even having 5 kids with different women. Let's not even
Right,
go
right.
there. Right. And then also just looking at his living situation, like you said, living in a studio and having 5 kids is just not there isn't enough space for all these kids that you have, right? And then also, like you said, living with your mother. So I do get what you're saying with okay, like I want to get all that stuff before I settle down with a woman. But then also, can we talk a little bit more about the economy? Okay, with how house prices and interest rates are moving, Don't you think it's gonna take a lot longer though for someone to actually get to a point where they settle down? So like let's say for example in the past, right? When the housing market was looking pretty okay, people could just maybe save for some time and then buy a house. But now it could take longer to buy a house and get established. So what's your take on that? And also this whole thing of wanting to buy a house, for example, is it so bad to start off like once you're married to someone, like start off living in an apartment and then work together to get to the house?
I like the idea of working together, being that the economy is the way it is now. Yeah, apartment can suffice, affordable one or comfortable one. Doesn't have to be anything lavish. Uh, I'm not sure how the economy is going to be in the next 5 years. Hopefully, it's better. Because how it's looking, everyone needs to make $100,000 to buy a house. You know, um, and that is the alternative of building a house. You know, whereas land might be cheaper versus buying a fully built functional house already.
Yeah, good take on that. And I think also to also depend on where people are located. So I guess to your point, there are other alternatives to look into. But I really like the fact that like you're like, okay, you know what? I would be open seeing how the economy is moving to just at least starting off in an apartment and then working your way up. So now I'm actually gonna take it back to the fundamentals, right? Let's take a step back. When you say you want to be established before you settle down, what does established mean to you?
Established mostly means self-sufficient, financially, transportationally wise. Have good morals, principles. You may have one or two businesses or sources of income, passive income, or income that you work.
Okay. I like that a lot because your definition of being established is beyond financial, which I feel like for me, whenever I hear someone say, like, oh, I want to be established before I settle down, my mind just automatically goes to, okay, it has something to do with like this person's career or where they want to be job wise before they settle down. But you included morals. So it sounds more like it's beyond financial and then more kind of like personal and getting to know yourself better.
Right. You don't want to be a party person or you want to get those things out of the way. You want to travel as much as possible before you settle down. Because when you settle down, you want to travel. You, you might meet a lot of conflicts where the person isn't able to go or they don't want to go. And then now you're with someone you want to spend the rest of your life with. And you want to go on this exotic trip and they just don't feel the same way. So, I mean, you could still do that in a relationship, but it might come with consequences.
Okay. No, I think that's fair. And what you said. So like, okay, going along with what you said, I also think in addition to, say maybe you're now married and there are now conflicts, like the person might not want to travel to the place that you wanted to go, or even sometimes like circumstances would not make it possible for you to go to like the places that you'd have been able to go when it was just your income supporting you. Because like now, if you have kids to take care of, and like kids are expensive, right? So you have kids to take care of, like a household to run. It might be hard for you to go on those lavish trips. I completely get it. I do like what you said too, though, that like, yeah, it is still possible, right? Like after you are married or after you settle down with someone to travel. But I think what you were touching on is also something that's really important, which is the freedom that we all have when we're still single.
Yes, it's 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 a stark contrast to when you're in a relationship. I I don't want people to think though they're not free in a relationship, but you have to take in consideration, how someone is going to feel upon you leaving them, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was a good one. And I'm actually laughing because I was talking to this guy Actually, it's not just one guy who said it. This is like two people who mentioned this, right? And these guys were like, "Oh yeah, if I was in a relationship with a girl, she is not going on a solo trip. She is not going on a girls trip." I said, "Say what? Like, what do you mean if you're in a relationship, she's not gonna go on a girls trip?" And then for these guys, like they've seen or experienced things where it's like, oh, maybe they were somewhere, or like some girls traveled to their city and they were like on a girls trip, and I just hear messy stories, and they're like, oh, like these girls will come and they'll be like, hey, like you and me, like, how about we go somewhere? And then the people would actually say, like, I have a man at home, but like, I'm on a trip. So then for these guys, the whole girls trip concept has just left a bad taste in their mouth because they're like, oh, when girls are on trips, they just feel like they can wild out, which I feel like that's a problematic way of thinking.
Right.
But I think I am with you, like where you talk about the freedom that you have when you're not in when you're not married to someone, right? Because right now, if I wanted to fly out to go somewhere tomorrow, I could do it and I don't have to run it by someone. Because then obviously when you're married to someone or you're in a relationship, it's out of courtesy and out of respect. Like you can't just move and make decisions alone. So you do have to think about that other person. Whereas, to your point, when you're by yourself, you can just do what you want to do. So that was a good one on getting established for sure.
Correct. Like there's more to being established than what people normally think it means.
Mm. And then also something that you mentioned was getting the partying out of the way. And I also hear of the phrase the whole phase. Can we talk a little bit more about that? Do you
Okay.
think do you think someone can actually get partying out of their system and say like the whole phase out of their system?
Yes, and not everyone has a whole phase, but for people that do, it gets boring for some. For some, yeah, it gets boring. Me, I can speak on that. I'm not saying I had a whole phase, but there was a phase where, I would entertain multiple women back to back, and then I found myself like, man, this is really boring, and nothing is consistent, and it's more. I would like more, as far as a genuine connection, consistency. So for people like me, it can get boring, but some people are living and doing it all the way into their 40s, you know?
Okay, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like I like what you said because I think it helps when you hear someone who, and like you said, you didn't go through a whole phase, but you're entertaining multiple women back to back. So it's helpful to hear someone who experienced it say, yeah, like for me, it got to a point where it was boring, and so yeah, now I'm moving past it. But to your point, there are still men and probably still women who like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they're still just, they're partying like they were in their 20s, right? And doing all
Right.
sorts of things. Uh, so yeah, I think to your
Eye-opening, like, what? Like, what are you chasing?
yeah, exactly. But I think you bring up a really good point where it's like there's certain things that you want to experience in singlehood or like when you're not with someone yet, so that when you're now in a relationship, like a committed serious relationship where you're married, you're not going to be curious, right? Because sometimes I feel like people just get curious of like, oh, I never actually tried this, and what is that going to be like? So I guess when you are still trying to establish yourself, to your point, like that's the time to figure out those kind of things, right, for yourself.
And established too, you also want to have, like, good credit to your name, because if you're established, that's no one can slander your name, character-wise. I don't want to be in a settled relationship and someone can come and say, "Oh, this and that about me," and, you know, scar my relationship with this woman I choose to settle down with.
So you're talking about you don't want to cheat? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily cheating, but, uh, from your partying phases, you wanna keep in mind that, "Hey, one day I wanna settle down, become a well-rounded person, so I'm gonna watch what I'm doing while I'm single." So
Mm.
that when I'm settled down, something from my past can't come up and be like, and then your girlfriend or boyfriend is like, what is this? You're like, you're pretending, like you're such a nice person, yet this is what you're doing in your past, you know? Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. I think that ties in with what you're saying about morals and
Right.
establishing yourself in that. And I guess what you're saying, if I was to sum it up, right, is like, okay, even though you do have all this freedom while you're single, it's also so important while you are discovering yourself to be conscious of the fact that whatever happens in the dark or what happens in the past could come up in the future. And like, are you going to be proud of that? Did I get that
Right.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So then now let's get a little bit more personal, right? So for you, are you in a phase where you're like, okay, I could be in a serious relationship, but like I wouldn't be ready to like get engaged right now because I want to get established? Or are you in a phase where you're actually like, you know what, I'm working on some things on my own right now, and I won't get into a relationship until I've gotten those things done?
Yeah, I'm more in that second phase you mentioned, but I'm still open to, talking to a female. I'm not shutting that out, but as far as committing to something serious, uh, yeah, I'm working on the things I personally have to do first, or
Okay,
focusing on
okay.
those more. Um, but in saying that, I won't be entertaining multiple women at the same time because that's just it's a lot of energy you're putting in different places, and you can potentially lead someone on, and yeah.
And then the damage control. Listen, let me tell you, some of your brothers out there have left many of our sisters wounded.
Wound.
So, yes, wounded from, just leading people on and then leaving them. So, you know what? I totally get what you're saying. So now, can we go a little bit deeper, right? I get what you're saying where you're like, okay, it's not to say, okay, what you're definitely saying is, I am not going to be entertaining multiple women because that's a lot of energy that I'm exerting. And then to your point, you might just end up in sticky situations and then the damage control is just a lot. So I get that. So then talking more about a serious relationship, right? Uh, would you see that as something that would be a distraction from you meeting your goals? Like, I just want you to explain a little bit more about why you cannot be in a committed relationship with someone and still work on your goals.
Committed relationship, you're gonna be taking on their life also. Like being with someone means, hey, whatever drama, whether it be emotionally, physically, financially, I it's gonna become your burden, or it could, because you're choosing to have this person in your life. And that could become a distraction because I'm not saying the distraction is gonna be bad, but it can hinder you from doing something. Whereas uh, you had a scheduled appointment or meeting, and well, hopefully they have someone else in their life that can assist them, like a family member, you know. But when you're in a relationship, you're primarily the one they come to instead of, a family member or a close relative. They call on you. Um, and them calling on you might take away from you giving time to something that might, better your future or better both of your futures. And they may or may not, female or male, may not see that it's beneficial to them in the future because they're in the present. I want to feel good. I want you to make me feel good now, so drop what you're doing. I need you regardless of how it's going to benefit us in the future. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to sacrifice, because I really need to do this for us.
Wow.
Some people might just be so caught up in the feeling of, oh, I love you. I don't need anything but you next to me. And I'm like, what?
Is that too much to ask for Charles if she wants you next to her the whole time?
Yeah, we got bills to pay.
Listen, like I cannot be physically with you all the time. Like I have things to do. I mean, I get what you're saying, right? I like your thought process in saying that a relationship is more than just saying I'm with this person. Like with that, to your point, it comes like there's a lot of stuff that's coming with it, right? Like you're saying that you're gonna be committed to this person, like emotionally, physically, financially, like just different things where like they could need your presence or your assistance, like you're signing up for that. So I do get what you're saying that like, yeah, if you are someone who wants to fully give your all to a relationship, but then you still have things that you're working on. And to your point, these things are for your future. Then, in order for you not to do a disservice to yourself or to the person, then it might just be best to not be in a relationship.
Yeah, yeah. Your last point is just probably better to not be a relationship or entertain anyone
Mm,
until you
okay.
until you've reached a set goal.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. And so for you, right? Do you have a timeline? You don't have to tell us, but do you have a timeline where you're like, oh, you know what? Like the goals that I have, I will for sure be done with achieving them in like say 2 years, right? Or do you find that some of your goals are goals that come up as you go?
Mm, no, no. I don't really have any new current goals. My goals are already set. As far as the time frame, that's changing. It might be shorter, it might be prolonged.
Okay. Okay.
I'm definitely trying to shorten it, but
Gotcha. But the goals are set. It's like the vision is there and now it's just executing it.
right.
Okay. So now I want to go to something that you said, because you said
I'm
while you are
listening.
not wanting to be in a serious committed relationship, you are still open. It's not like you've closed the doors and you've closed the windows and you're like, oh, I don't want to talk to a woman. You're still open, you said, to talking to one woman.
Yeah, sure. Like,
So can you tell us, can you describe what that looks like?
what it looks like is, if I see someone I find attractive, I say hi, how are you? You get to know them a bit, and you just leave it at a talking stage, nothing physical. You don't meet up frequently because then that's gonna be like, okay, he likes seeing me a lot. Does he want something more? Like you have to keep in mind that you, even though you don't want a relationship, you can't be doing relationship things with this person.
That's a word. That's a word. Say it louder.
You can't be doing relationship things with a person when you don't want a relationship.
And that's fair. But Charles, my question is because I quote, you said, approach them and stuff, but like you kind of leave things at the talking stage. So my question is, are expectations being set when you're talking to the person? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I'm going to put in a plug right now for an episode that I did with Shay. Shout out to Shay. And that one was called I'm Attached to Him. And in that episode, we talked about how sometimes heartbreaks have been experienced in a talking stage. And it was because, sometimes people go into the talking stage and they're actually not ready to start a relationship, right? So it ends up hurting people. So now,
Mm.
coming back to you, Charles, while these things are happening, like, are you setting expectations to this person, or you're like indirectly setting expectations through your actions of not, to your point, seeing them often?
Hmm. Expectations to not seeing them often. Yes, yes. My expectation is that they will not catch feelings and they will understand that we're just you know friends or platonic. I would say. Um,
But are you telling them though? Are you actually telling them that, hey, just so you know, I'm not looking for anything.
right.
I
I usually don't have to say, but if it comes to that, I do. I do say because, like I say, I don't do much for them to even the idea. Well, hopefully, I don't do much. the idea of a potential future with me to come up, being that I'm not consistent in their life as much, you know. But some people fall in love in the first 5 minutes, right? Um,
I'm done. Some people fall in love in the first 5 minutes. I mean, that's also true. It happens.
yeah, so I could be saying all of this like, we just spoke once, and they're just like, okay, this guy seems like a potential, or this girl seems like a potential within the first few minutes of you guys meeting, and you're just communicating to communicate. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so maybe in the first 5 minutes, you can be like, well, hey, I'm not looking for a relationship, but I just want to have a conversation with you.
No, I get what you're saying. I guess it is awkward, obviously, in the first encounter you're having with someone. To your point, in the first 5 minutes, you're already telling someone, I'm not looking for a relationship, because they actually didn't say they were looking for a relationship. My
Right.
thing is, though, sometimes some of your brothers out here, they'll be, with girls in this talking stage. And I guess um, maybe the difference is, to your point, you were saying you're not consistent with it, which we need to talk more about what that even means. But if someone is texting someone every day, calling them every day, I guess that would be something you would call consistent. On your end, how often are you communicating with this person?
Probably twice a month.
Oh, okay, 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 sounds good. So then,
Yeah,
but then, oh, what?
or if there's a relatable event happening in town or a topic, you might run it across them just to see what their views are on it. But it's on a professional level. There's not much, feelings in it where you'd be like, "Oh, I like that. I like that about you," or you're like, "Okay, I your comment on the topic is pretty cool." Like, you have to choose your words too. You don't want to praise someone because then like, "Oh, he's praising me. Ooh, this guy is into me." Like, you really have to watch what you say. Oh, you really
Do
do.
you know? Do you know what? With everything that you're saying, I feel like you could write like a book or hold a master class for men of like you gotta watch what you say. You
You
know?
do. Like, as simple as this. Like, I told someone, I think she's 40, right? And it surprised me that I'm being 28 telling her this. There's a difference between when you say a friend and my friend.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Can you explain the difference?
So a friend is mostly a special friend, someone that you're serious about or you see a lot. Versus, oh, my friend, I'm out with my friend. Have you ever found yourself saying like, "Oh, I'm with a friend," versus, "Oh, I'm with my friend." My friend, I feel, is more, friendly, and we grew up together. Whereas a friend, oh, I have plans, with this person. We
Mm.
might be serious. I'm only with them, you know.
So for you, you wanna be called my friend, not a friend.
Yeah, because a friend is definitely an eye raiser. I'm out with a friend. Oh, you're out with a friend, or versus I'm out with
Ah.
my friend. I'm out with my friend.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. Wow. That's deep.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're gonna notice it when you're having a conversation with a guy or a girl. It's like, oh, I'm out with a friend. Oh, a friend, huh? And then you might see one of your friends be like, oh, I'm out with my friend.
Ah, okay, I get it. Yeah, I see where you're coming from with all this. Hmm,
A friend normally turns into a relationship. That my friend is just, we're out, you know.
interesting. Oh wow, yeah. I guess there's something to be said about the words that you use. I guess to your point, so that you don't end up leading people on while you're still trying to establish yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, or learn yourself, But I find you learn yourself quicker through interacting with people. Like, some people say, "Oh, I found myself going on this trip across the world in my solitude," and I'm like, how much did you learn about yourself other than your thoughts in your head? Like, what can nature teach you about yourself that you like and don't like? Maybe you like how nature makes you feel, But whereas when you interact with people, you can be like, okay, I don't like how this person talks, and you find out about yourself. I like how this person talks. I like how this person smells. Now you found out that you like this smell. So I find you learn more about yourself through interacting with people.
And so if we tie it back to the topic, so then are you saying that even while you're working on establishing yourself, there's still value in having interactions in your case, like having interactions with women or like casually talking to women, because that way you're also learning about yourself through interacting with them.
Correct.
Okay.
But now,
Okay.
if you're like, casually hooking up with every woman that you meet, like it's like, I mean, you're kind of losing value as a man. like, and I was thinking about, I wonder if that can be tied into like a whole phase. Maybe people are in that whole phase to learn about themselves. Like the more people I hook up with, maybe I'll learn, multiple. By the end of it, you've learned everything, and when you settle down, you're bored because you you know everything.
Oh, wow. That's actually a very deep point. That is such a good point. Oh my goodness. It's like you've seen so much through the experiences you've had in your I'm trying to establish myself phase, that by the time you are with someone, to your point, like now it's like, oh, this person can't do this the way that that person did this.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that is a word. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is deep.
yeah. And imagine you meet a guy or girl, who came from some place, and they're being compared to like 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 someone from 5 years ago.
Or being compared to like 50 other people, right? Or 100 other people. Yo, that is a word. But can we talk about something that you just said? Because you said something like, okay, if you're a guy and you're just going around hooking up with people, like having this whole phase, right? You are losing value. What do you mean by that?
You're losing value. I feel as in society, if you're in a close knit society, um, people are gonna be like, "You're a hoe," you know, "You're a hoe." And who is gonna walk around with their chin up, chest out, with a male hoe? Like, I don't be being a woman, but some men have it twisted. Whereas the more women they're with, the more notches on the belt. Like that's a good thing. I don't see it that way.
Wow, that was so deep. I think you're so right? Because what you said is like, okay, if you're in a close knit society and like say even living in a small town or something like that where everyone knows everybody, the business that you do, everyone would know about it. And then to your point, like instead of through this establishing yourself phase, you getting a good name for yourself, you're going to end up just having a bad rep, right? Because everyone will be like, oh, this person went through the whole town or something like that. And
Right.
it's interesting that you brought that up because I have a close friend of mine who moved to an island, like another island. And when he got there, he was like, yeah, I'm really watching my interactions with women because it's such a small island that whatever you do, everyone will know what you did. And that's pretty much going to be your reputation, right? So, hey, to anybody who's listening, who's in their whole phase or doing whatever they do, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. But I'm just bringing up this because my friend was like, yeah, at the end of the day, and to your point, Charles, if you're now in a relationship and then you lived in like this small island and you did all sorts of things, and this goes beyond even like say being with multiple people or like breaking everybody's hearts, even if you did something like you were a scammer or you like stole something, you could get a reputation that's just not a good reputation and people would just always remember that. So I completely get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
So then now, Charles, my final question for you is how are you going to know that you're now established enough to be in a committed relationship?
When you are no longer, you know, I'm looking for the right word. seeking the validation of multiple women or seeking the attention of multiple women. You're to a point where I'm like, all right, I'm good. Maybe I can select one lady that I want to create a future with, and I only have eyes for her. Even if a drop dead gorgeous model, Miss Universe walks by you, you're still focused on this woman that is in front of you that you've selected.
Okay, okay. So that's being established from like say the dating and having eyes for many people to now being like, okay, this is the one woman that I'm focusing on. How about in terms of the rest of the aspects,
Financially,
right? Yeah, say like financial, emotional, any other aspect you can think of. How would you know that, you know what, me, Charles, like I'm ready now to move on?
and I wouldn't say there's a set time when you're ready, but when you're sure, I would say when you're more sure, because as time goes down, you can still always develop or become even more established. Mm, I'd say when you have 3 months saved, you have good savings, you have good good credit. Credit is a good thing to have. Good credit, especially. Like I'm waiting for a female to ask me what's my credit score. It's always the mom that would ask me, "Well, what's your credit score? Let me see your credit." I'm like, like the moms be asking the right questions. The girls are just like, "Oh, he takes me out on days. Yeah, he takes me to this nice place." The moms want to know what your finances look like. What else? I mean, if you have your own apartment, that's one thing too, or your own property, but definitely your own apartment, your own private place where you can bring them back to, or just for your own space. You do not want to have other people in your business at all.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. And then you had mentioned that you have these goals that you have set, right? So will you know that you're fully established when you've accomplished 100% of your goals or 80% of your goals or like 50% of your goals? What's the relationship between your goals and feeling established?
I would say 80%, and that 80% entails having a own roof over your head, having good credit, whereas the
Mm.
other 20% is, having passive income or multiple businesses. Because if you really think about it, having children and working 9 to 5, that's not even paying you close to. I don't know, man. I don't know. Some people live in different countries or different states where the salary is different, so I can't really put a number on it.
Right.
But you would want to make a comfortable amount that you can support your kids.
Okay, okay. I love what you said about how obviously we don't know what your goals are, but I love what you said about how the 80% sounds more like core stuff. Like, okay, do I feel like I have financial security? Do I feel like I have a roof over my head? Like, do I have the basic needs that I would want in order to provide for this woman, right?
Right.
Which, to your point, I guess when you get to the 80%, you feel more comfortable to get into something more committed. Whereas the 20% is more of the toppings on the ice cream, right? Like more passive income or multiple businesses running, right? And I think the reason I'm even bringing this up is because sometimes I feel like, because I think with life, personally, I don't know if anyone can ever say I have arrived. I feel like the way that we are as humans is there's always something higher to strive for, right? So then my thing with like say goals and stuff is sometimes people might find themselves just like chasing and never arriving. So it's good to still have a picture of like, okay, at what point am I gonna feel comfortable enough to be like, okay, like I can move on to the next chapter of my life? Because if we talk about, say, starting businesses, from what I hear, from people. It's not everybody who is going to have like the first business they start be a success, right? You hear a lot about like, oh, things were really rough starting a business, or I started multiple businesses and they failed. And then like my seventh business is the one that did it. So then if you're someone who, I don't know, like after graduating college, you did a 9 to 5 for some years, and then now you're 30, say 35, and now you're like, oh, now I want to start businesses. It could take a while before things, kick off.
Right.
Whereas there are some people, like I went to college with like one good friend of mine who he right after college started with like I'm on the entrepreneurial path, and he started multiple businesses, and he's had time to actually learn. Like he's been doing this since he was 22, right? So then for that person, like it does make sense if they say like, hey, I want to have a successful business running, because they've had a lot of time to do it. Whereas for some other people, it's like, okay, if you've done a 9 to 5 for like 15 years after college, and you're still saying that, oh, I now want to start a business, that could take a while before you get there.
Mm.
So I just feel like sometimes some goals are more realistic than others. But at the end of the day, to each their own. So yeah.
You made a point, to each their own, right? So you remember how I brought up we're looking at tradition from the 50s?
Yes.
Because that to us is what, 50s? We were born in the 90s, 50s, so that's a 40-year difference, right, from to where we were born.
Mm-hmm.
So now this generation is gonna be looking 40 years into the past, and the traditions they're gonna have to model their lives after, it's not looking really good.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
It's not looking really good what traditions or morals the future, will have to, yeah. Because in the future they're gonna have to model their life, from the 2010s, and the 2010s. I mean, jeez,
Oh my gosh, your reactions. Your
I
reactions are
mean,
everything.
jeez, like, twerking. I lived in a high rise, a studio in Miami. Yeah, yeah, like, it's.
And I think also, right, when we talk about, say, even something that you mentioned, of course, obviously, in every decade or in every year, there've been some people who are just wilding. But I don't know. I feel like in this generation, or like these times, you just continue to hear a lot of stories about, oh, this man has 10 children with 6 different baby mamas, right? And he doesn't live with any of them, right? He doesn't live with any of those women. So they're taking care of the kids and stuff. And sometimes the man is broke, extremely broke, right? So it's like you were not established, but then here you were bringing life into the world, and you don't even have the resources to like take care of them. You know what I mean? And so there
Right,
is a lot of that that's going on, which is like, especially if you're not established, why are you going around just like baby making with so many people, and then you
right,
can't even take care of the children? And I also think that even when it comes to like raising kids and stuff, it's not good enough to be like, oh, I have these millions of dollars and billions of dollars, and so I'm just gonna have children with multiple women, and the mothers are going to raise these kids because your presence as the father is not there. You know what I mean? Like, like what is going on?
what is going on?
No, truly, like what is going on? And also, I think some of my frustrations also come from, say, like some of these shows that I'll watch, right? Like paternity courts with Lauren Lake on YouTube. You see so many stories. Like there was this 28-year-old woman, I think she was 28, and she had five children with 5 different baby daddies. She's in court taking another man, I guess for her sixth child, to paternity court because she's saying like he's not paying. And then this man, because then they'll have you say why you think you're not the father or whatever. And then this man goes, oh, I don't think I'm the father because she already has like 5 different baby daddies and she's trying to pin a baby. Like, what is going on? You know? So I think even beyond settling down, I think there is something to actually be said about what settling down means, right? Because there are also certain things that I feel like people need to do, like getting established before say, bringing babies into the world that they're unable to take care of.
Right.
And I feel like now with how society is also moving, all these like things were like, oh yeah, people will have, multiple baby mamas or like multiple baby daddies, and they're still enjoying their life of not settling down, right? Because if we think about settling down from it, oh, settling down is now when you found one person and you say, I want to build life with you. Well, you also have people who are bringing life with multiple people and they're not actually settling down with them. So then they're still getting the benefits of like, oh yeah, every weekend or every day they're out there partying and wilding. But then here are these babies who are like innocent, who are just being brought into situations that they didn't ask for.
Right. It's annoying.
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, I'm from a single mother household, so I really don't. Uh, yeah, most of the households I've been brought up around were single mother households, so I don't really have like a fully functional family to model my future off of. But I'm trying.
Mm, 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 mm.
I'm trying. But that's just most households in the island. I feel like most of them are single mother households.
I see. So when you say you're trying, what does your ideal future household look like?
Mm, that's a good question. You know, what I would like it to look like,
Mhm.
father, mother, child, maybe pet. I'm not so stoked on pets.
Maybe pet.
Yeah, maybe because pets leave a lot of fur. I don't like fur on my clothes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. No, and I was just curious too because I feel like obviously, right? Like every society, I don't know if that's the word, but like every group of people is different. Because actually, there's a guy who was a friend of mine back in college who was from an island, not St. Thomas, like a different island. And he said, he actually told, he's like, oh, I never want to settle down, actually. I don't want to marry, but what I do want to have is to have multiple people who can give me babies. And that's his mindset, right? So I think sometimes too, the reason I was even asking you is because I think sometimes people might grow up in a certain way. And then for them, they still want that. They could have grown up in a situation where it was like the dad wasn't available or he wasn't present or he had multiple women and multiple children. So then the dad wasn't there. But then they grew up in that, but then they actually still want the same thing.
Yeah, well, that's all they know.
Right.
Yeah.
Any final remarks on all this?
No, but I just want to say if I keep it up, if I keep chasing my goals and not finding a point where I'm established enough, I'm probably gonna live alone. Yeah, I'm probably gonna. You get so caught up in like you said earlier, chasing that you don't take time to stop and look back. You're gonna find yourself alone in a big house and no one to share it with.
Does that scare you?
No, it doesn't. But I don't even know what scares me, honestly. I think what scares me the most is not being able to buy food one day.
Ah, okay, okay. So then like that stability matters.
Right, stability. If I don't have that, that's scary. But I'm good at I'm good at accepting things, but I wouldn't want that for my future. But if it becomes my future, I'll just make the best of it. Um, I won't be bitter, but
Mm, mm, mm,
try
mm.
not to be bitter. Um, yeah,
You have
but
the
I'll
funniest way
definitely
of
be
saying
that.
things.
I'll be that cool uncle.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think you know what's interesting actually about everything that you said. At the core, I feel like what's really important to you is stability. So then, if you do get to a point where you're like, I am stable, you can see yourself, say, building a family with someone. But if you if you haven't gotten to that point where you feel like you're stable enough to build a family with someone, then you would rather be like alone or like single, right? And be the cool uncle and still have stability for your own life where you can feed yourself and not have to worry about bills.
Right. Or my family, yeah. Like, I have nieces and nephews, you know?
Yeah, so okay, so you have nieces and nephews. I guess they could keep you company too.
Yeah, they do.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Charles. This was such an insightful conversation. It's always good to chat with you and hear all your thoughts on these things. So thank you for coming to the podcast.
Thank you.
And to any guys who are listening, please hit me up in the DMs and let me know what you guys think about this whole thing of getting established before you settle down with someone, because I'm just really curious. And thank you so much to everybody who was listening. I really appreciate you guys listening. Make sure that you leave stars on the podcast, guys. Rate the podcast before you leave, okay? Thank you. I will catch you guys in the next episode. Peace. Ndiwe wandiro ya moyo wangu, ndiwe wandiganganiza fungo zangu.